will eventually have the 7 videos that we're watching right now so that you can do a book study with your team. You can go in with your team. They can have the book. They can do the workbook. They can watch the video. This is something so that we can have this program, this habit formation, this mindset development, this whole program developed to help your team have higher productivity. It's all about coaching and developing a high-performance team. So let's go to the purpose of the Success Habits workbook. I did want to go over that a little bit before I keep going into each of these chapters. So what we're looking at, the next 7 weeks, the whole 7 chapters, the purpose of the book is the center. In the center, you see something that says new normal. So with the new normal, you need to develop a plan. That's what we talked about last week. Developing a plan, a habit, a goal. You know, where are you headed? How do you get there? Where are you at now? And what's the difference? What are you going to have to be or do to become, you know, go from 50,000 to 100,000, or to go from your debt now of 200,000 to debt free? What do you have to do? What behaviors have to change? And that's the reality of developing a plan. When I sit down with somebody, I am helping them to understand you are where you are today because of your habits and ways of thinking. So the only way to change tomorrow is to change habits, what you do, and how you think about them. So that's the develop a plan. And today we're going to talk about, you know, knowing what you control. It's really about the way we think, our perspective about what we do. So that's going to be a big breakthrough for some of you. That's a very important second chapter, because a lot of times people don't understand. They're so full of fear, so full of anxiety, so worried about rejection. All those kind of things are happening, so their activity is very minimal. So if you do not address this, if you do not teach your team, your sales team, how to overcome these obstacles, then they're going to be stuck. So we're going to get unstuck through the process of these 7 chapters. The next one, 21-day habit formation, then somebody starts going, but they go for like 3 days. They go for 3 days and then they peter out, or they don't stay on it for the habit formation. In order to break through, in order to create a new normal, you're going to have to lock and load on that habit. And it's going to be weird. You're going to get sick of doing it. You're not going to want to do it. That's chapter 3. Okay, we're going to talk about that chapter 3. Then there's the mindset. Okay, developing a success mindset. That's an entire chapter on the depth of what's going into the inner man, the spirit of your mind, what you see in your mind's eye, because the inside is going to come to the outside. And so we go really deep in that chapter and that whole week. And then there's the, okay, great, I got all this right, but I can't overcome my lack of productivity or my rejection issues, or procrastination. That's going to be an overcoming obstacle. So these are all the kind of things in the background of success. You know, yes, you can make your list. Yes, you can talk to people. But if you don't have these kind of things set up, then you're not going to develop that new normal. And then the final one, personal development, that is just grow, 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 grow. You know, tell me, show me, let me, grow me. And that's what this whole thing is going to revolve around, so that new normal. So what does a new normal mean? Maybe you're 140 pounds or 160 and you want to be 125. So you need to change things to have a new normal be 125. That's your new normal, because maybe your normal right now, 160, is not okay. Shouldn't be there. All right, maybe your normal right now is making $40,000 a year. You want a new normal. So you have to change your mindset. All these things that are in the circle right here on the slide are the things that we're going to work on. So I just want to show you where we're going. And so each week you see that it develops on itself towards that new normal. That's the end goal for our webinar. All right, so I just want to say one thing before we move to the next slide. On developing a plan. Last week there was some, I've just been disturbed by it for the whole week. Some things that were said that are being taught in the country to you about goal setting. And one of them is like the people that say, get people to the meeting, get people to the meeting, get people, you got to get more people to the meeting, you just got to make more calls, you just got to, and they're always talking about this thing that you want, more people to the meeting. And I'm going to give you just how we do life in the Hoffman family. We never go for the goal of the thing that we want. We always go for the goal of the habits that create the thing. So if because on the call, there was some breakthrough last week about, oh my gosh, I've been told get more people to the meeting, but I don't know what is really the purpose of that. And their mindset was like just kind of pushing people towards the meeting, and it's just very murky and very unattractive to want to do that behavior if you're not fueled by the right purpose. So seek ye first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness, then all these things will be added unto you. So what that scripture says, what that principle says is, I never seek the thing. The thing is added unto me when I seek first the right ways of treating people, the right ways to have a daily method of operation. If I seek first the righteousness, the right way of doing something, then things will be added onto me. The ED position, a higher pay level, a performance club trip. All right, so the performance club trip is a great goal. Okay, you have it out there, but don't focus on the performance club trip. Focus on the habits that you do every day. Seek ye first the habits and the right way of going about your daily activities, then all these things shall be added unto you. So if you seek first, so in order to have 100 people at a meeting versus 10, you're not saying, let's get 100 people to a meeting. That's not the goal, really. The goal is you got to go backwards. You got to re-engineer. You want to fill a room, but why do you want to fill a room? Why would anybody be interested in coming to that meeting and sitting in that chair? So we're going to touch on it a little bit deeper next week, actually, because next week in the 21-day habit, there's a part of that chapter that talks about the purpose that fuels the goal. And so I just want to say that we're going to really, it's like an onion, unpeel some of the layers that are stopping you from actually taking and moving forward, because in your mind, you're not even comfortable with this thing that you're being told to do. So we got to get things right on the inner man, on the inside of you, so your integrity matches your actions. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I want you to think about the right way of treating people, the right principle of doing your business in your daily method of operation, and not so focused on the end result. And the end result will come as a result of your right focus. So that's that on developing a plan. Let's get started on this week, understanding what we control, which is the number of hours, the number of presentations, and your attitude. So those are the three things we control. Let's go into the number of hours. The time, the hours you commit. Okay, the time, the number of hours you are committing to your business. There is a book called Outliers. And our Outliers simply says, Gladwell, the author, empowers people to feel worthy of rubbing elbows with the elite, provided, of course, they put in their 10,000 hours first. So in other words, he says in this book, it's a whole book about whether you're Tiger Woods or you're the Beatles or you're Microsoft, Bill Gates, he goes and shows you that Bill Gates is not successful because he's just Bill Gates and he's real smart and he got that. Bill Gates started when he was 13 years old, going and working on computers. Then when he was in college, he thought that he could get into the computer lab at 3 o'clock in the morning because nobody was in there and it was really hard to get in there. So he got up every day at 3 o'clock in the morning and went from 3 until 6 in the morning, 3 hours a day, all the time, to get in there so he could learn this computer thing. Well, that's hour upon hour upon hour of experience and honing his skill and learning more and opening up his mind to understanding bigger things and breakthrough and breakthrough and breakthrough and breakthrough because of the time and the hours he invested into developing his skill. All right, so if you're doing one presentation every 3 days, if you're making one call a day or every five calls a week, that's not a real skill development. You're not investing time. See, practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good. So it's the Beatles, for instance. They played in Hamburg, Germany for almost 7 to 9 years. I don't know how many years, but a lot of years. Okay, 7+ years. 5 hours a day, 7 days a week. They were not famous. They were playing in this cheesy little bar in Hamburg. They got a gig. Okay, so they go over there and they play 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it talks about that in the Outliers book. And they developed their craft. So every time they sang that song, and they sang that song, and they sang that song, 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, year after year after year, they started to say, hey, let's add this little thing to it. Hey, what if we did this? I think that would make the song better. And it is because they kept doing it and doing it that they got sick of doing the song the way it was, that they developed their sound because of consistency and developing it and adding a little bit of uniqueness to it. At the end of that is when they became famous. So all those years, 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, they were not famous. But because they spent the hours and the hours and the hours, the end of that story, seek ye first the right ways of doing things, hone that skill, focus on developing yourself, then all these things, fame, fortune, success, money, higher pay levels, income, bonuses, are added onto you. So that's the first thing, time, the hours that you commit. The next slide talks about presentations. All right, the number of presentations you make. All right, the law of the harvest says you will reap what you sow. So it isn't personal. This isn't personal for you, but to get a bigger harvest, we need to plant more seeds, period, end of story. Farmer looks out at his plot of land, he plants some seeds, and some of the seeds are going to get eaten by the birds, period. It's just the way it is. He's going to plant seeds, but he's going to keep on sowing. So the parable goes like this. Some seeds get eaten by the birds, then he keeps planting. He keeps planting the seeds. The next seeds fall on stony ground where the soil is shallow and sprouted up. They sprout up. They're like, woo, yay, I'm a seed. But they're on shallow ground. They come up, and then the hot sun burns them, and they wither away. That's the way it is. So you're going to plant some seeds that pop up. I'm so excited. This is the greatest opportunity I've ever seen. I can't believe it. And then you're never going to see them again. I don't know why. The bird got them or the sun got them. But the bird, the sun, that's going to happen. It is the way it is. See, if you connect with this is normal. Okay, this is normal. So what you control is continuing to plant seeds. So the farmer doesn't freak out when a couple of birds get his seeds. The farmer doesn't freak out when he sees some plants come and wither away. He realizes he's got to keep going. He's got to keep sowing. You know, think about someone who doesn't control their emotions. So the farmer that gets upset and says, oh my gosh, a bird got my seed, you know, that would be so ridiculous because that's the law of the harvest, that you got to keep planting, and eventually it's going to take root. All right, so someone who doesn't control their emotions, their feelings, their mindsets, they fall away because maybe they go to the first person and they say, here's this really great opportunity, and somebody goes, oh, you're kidding. Are you serious? Oh my gosh, I knew somebody did that. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know the value of the product. They haven't had a real presentation. They're so ignorant, and they're making this crazy judgment towards you about what you're doing. And yet that individual that's so excited, their emotions, feelings, mindset, that someone doesn't agree with them makes them fall away from an opportunity that could change their life. Okay, that person will stay stuck. That person will stay in an income level that they're in because they haven't developed their success habits and their discipline and their emotional management. All right, so if they're dedicated, like to the book and going through the 7 chapters, they're gonna be, oh, and they're saying, I know that I've got to overcome. I am an overcomer. I'm going to press on for the prize. I'm going to become. I am more than an overcomer, actually. And this is what I can't control, that person said those things to me. I can't control that, but I can control my choice to keep planting. I am going to keep planting the seed because that's what the farmer does. That's what the parable says. That's the way it is. And so that seed fell on kind of ugly ground. Maybe, that's not going to work. That's not going to produce a harvest, but I'm going to keep planting. And it goes on. He continues to sow into the soil because you will reap what you sow. So the part we control is the sowing part. We have to sow into the soil, soil of people's lives, soil of their minds, soil of the interactions that we have. And then the reaping is second. Okay, it's on the back end. All right, seek ye first the sowing part. And so you focus on how do I sow? How do I sow effectively? Things like that. Who are the best people to sow to? And so the farmer keeps on sowing into the soil because he disciplines his disappointment. That's what I call emotional management. And then, but the third soil is bad too. It's those thorns, the parable says, which chokes the seed. So you got the bird, you got the sun, you've got the thorns, and they're choking the seed. And thorns in the Bible, it's called the busyness of life. So you ever had somebody that's so excited, oh my gosh, they have an insurance agency there, they have 8 agents, they're all going to take this product, they have thousands of clients, and you're seeing this, oh my gosh, it's going to be great, and that they're so excited about the product, and the busyness of life comes in, and they never sell a membership. They never get on it because they got all those other products, and they got all this stuff going on, and they can't seem to figure out how to add this product in. So the thorn got that seed. You planted a seed, but the thorns, they came along and choked, busyness of life, just choked the potential of Legal Shield coming into their marketplace through these agents, choked it right up. So those things can happen, and they really mean to do well. I mean, that's how John and I started. We had the thorns. We started in this business, and we owned a business. And so imagine you sponsor John and Darcy Hoffman, okay? We get in the business, and we're so excited I could do a backflip, okay? I'm so excited about this opportunity, this product line. Yay, it's the greatest. I see that it's huge potential for money. I believe in the product. Everything's lined up for my success. I go back home. Okay, I went to the national convention. John and I go back home to our office, and boom, there's reality. There's our phone call ringing, there's our clients, there's our existing business. We got to deal with this, we got to deal with that, employee problems, da-da-da-da-da. All that stuff just choked the seed, and we did zero, zippo, nada. So we started in November and December, no production, no sales, not one single recruit, zero production. So what does that person do? Do they give up on John and Darcy Hoffman? Thank God they did not. What did they do that brought the bad soil, the bad seed, into a good harvest? They did one thing, and the most important thing you can ever do when you have somebody not interested or locked up in maybe one of those bad soils, you've sown the seed, they are interested, you've seen that they're interested. The only thing you control that you can do to help bring life to somebody that once believed in this, but they just have been choked by the busyness of life, sow the seed of a testimonial. Sow the seed of what's happening in the business. Email, text, phone call, leave a message. I just wanted you to know I just had talked to a new member of our service, and this is their story. Or I just wanted to send you this Facebook post about what this product does for somebody. Or I just want to tell you that, a new person just got started. Here's their background. They already made ED in 4 months. Unbelievable opportunity. Or I just want to tell you the story about an insurance company that took on the product, rolled it out in a very effective way. I want to tell you about how they did it, because their first month they had 100 sales, and that's like a $10,000 additional income for them. So I wanted to let you know about that, and give me a call when you have time. And you just call and you sow a seed of testimonial of the business or the product, what the product is doing for someone or what the business is doing for someone. You sow the seed. So once someone gets excited, once someone gets started, you haven't done anything. You're sowing seeds. They need to have validation. They need to know, if I invest time in this, it is worth it. So your job is to sow seeds of testimonial. I cannot stress that enough. 6 weeks, the sponsor for John and Darcy Hoffman sowed a seed of a testimonial on a daily basis. She would call us daily, sow a seed of a testimonial on the business, how much money people are making, how successful they are, or the product and what it's doing for people, how customers love the product. So it's validating the value of the product. It's validating that success is happening without me, without John. It is happening, and it stirred me up, stirred us up. January 2nd came, boom. That's when we locked and loaded, and history was made. So we changed our life, changed everything, but it took that kind of activity. All right, so the parable goes, some seed is on the birds get, some the sun gets, some the thorns get, but the farmer keeps on sowing, and finally the seed falls on the good ground. But even the good ground, even the good associate is going to produce 30, 60, or 100-fold increase. So even in your team that's actually dedicated and actually operating in good habits, some will produce 30. Maybe they're a director. Some will produce 60. Maybe they're an ED. Some will produce 100%. Maybe they're platinum world. Okay, they go platinum world, whatever. So there's going to be different types of production, even in the good seed. So the key is planting seed is something we do. It's a habit. It's not, you can't look at every, dig up every seed to say, hey, is that taking root? You just keep planting the seed. You have to understand you are in control of what you sow. So you are in control of what you reap. If I have been sowing neglect into my marriage, I'm going to reap a very poor marriage. So if I don't like my marriage, if I don't like my relationship with my spouse, then I have to decide. And I have to ask myself, what am I sowing? What am I putting? Am I honoring that person? Am I sowing time? Am I doing fun things? Am I being creative? Am I making him a priority? And so I start to change what I sow into the marriage, and that changes the heart of the other spouse. I'm not waiting for that spouse. I am in control of what I sow. One time, Brielle came into our house, and she was a teenager, and she was a little snotty teenager, rude, snotty, all that stuff, okay? So I'm like, I had a choice to make. Okay, so she sowed into me ugly stuff, and I'm the parent, I'm the adult. And so that this is going to apply when you go to an account and you present to them and they're not so nice to you. So I say to myself, So she goes up to her room, and she's like 17, got that little attitude, that little girl attitude that, anybody on the phone that has a girl understands. And I thought to myself, what was sown into her that's producing this ugliness, this ugly behavior? And what can I do to change it? So I say to myself, I go, Lord, what is going on with my daughter's heart? And I felt like I was shown that I haven't spent time with her. She needs her mom. She wants just to know that she's valuable. We've been busy. So instead of going, you don't talk to me like that, you will never talk to me, I'm your mom, I don't say that. I seek first the right way of how to be a mom. So I go up there and I say to her, Brielle, honey, I just want to tell you what I feel like the Lord showed me. I feel like you need your mom, and I haven't been here for you. I feel like I just want you to know that I care about you, I value you. You mean the world to me, and I want to spend more time, and I'm sorry that I haven't been here for you. You probably have needed me. Brielle bawls, she cries, she's like, thank you, Mom. Boom, I have back in my arms the normal child I have, the sweet, gentle, wonderful little child. Because instead of like sowing anger, you will not talk to me, and then anger meets anger, I said, no, okay, what is the root? Why is she acting like this? So when your team is not wanting to bring somebody to a meeting, when your team is not wanting to make calls, you don't just keep saying, you got to make calls, you got to get people in a meeting. That's not going to change the behavior. You need to back up, and you say, what do I need to sow? When John and Darcy Hoffman weren't producing, not one recruit, not one sale for 6 weeks, after we went to this major convention and saw the big picture, what in the world's going on? Sow a testimonial, sow validation, sow into that mind, into that heart, until we went bing, 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 and all of a sudden it connected, and off we go with full, belief. So our belief was not quite there, even though we saw the big picture. You think because one, exposure at a big conference is like going to blow somebody's mind. It will for that moment, and then 3 days later they're back into the real world. So your job is to sow into time, sow skills into your life. If you don't have the income you want, you got to sow into your own life. That's the hours, the time you commit, like the outliers. Okay, so that's the bottom of the slide says seed, time, and harvest. That's the other principle. So first we have a farmer sowing principle. You reap what you sow. There's two huge principles on this slide. And the second one is you notice that you seek and you will find. So finding is reserved for the seekers. It's not reserved for the hopers. It doesn't say hope and you will find. It doesn't say even pray and you will find. Because those people that, there's some people that are philosophical. They sit there on their couch and they pray, and but they don't do anything. So it says faith without works is dead. So that isn't even it. So you can't just sit there. You have seeking is an action, knocking is an action, asking is an action. So the harvest side, notice the harvest side, the finding, the open doors to group accounts, to new associates, to new opportunities, the receiving, all of the harvest side is based on the left side, which is the seed side. So the seeds of how you produce the harvest are the seeking, the knocking, the asking. Asking for, okay, go make a presentation, great. You seeked out a person that would be interested. You knocked, and the door was open. You're making a presentation, but you forgot to ask for referrals. So you're like seeking, knocking, but not asking. So maybe you got the membership to protect your family, but you can expand your business by seeking, knocking, and asking. All of them are the seed part, okay? So I wanted to share with you those two huge mindset principles. That's the way it is. You can't change it. There's going to be a morning. There's going to be a night. There's a sun. There's a moon. There's 4 seasons. Period. End of story. They're not in your control. So what you do is you operate with the principles of success, and those are the 2 biggest principles that we work with. All right, let's go to the final one, the attitude. That's the final thing about attitude. Making it, like for instance, making a call to set up a presentation is tough when you think they may say no. But making a call to set up a presentation is inspiring when your purpose is to make sure they know about our service. It's perspective. When John and I were first months, January, when we finally did kick off, John and I lost a big player. We were recruiting, we met this, connected with this big player, big time. Well, this big player was also talking to somebody else in the company that had hit the top position in the company already, and it's our first month. Guess what happened? We lost the big player. We lost it. So now attitude is get bitter or get better. And I remember when that happened. I can still remember how I felt. And I said, okay, I understand. This is how success is. That person chose the other guy because he is, at the top position in the company. He's got success proven that he knows what he's doing in this company. So yeah, I can see that. I can see why he chose the other person to do business with rather than John and Darcy Hoffman. So I thought to myself, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to become more valuable. I need to become a better success story. I need to be so focused so much on what makes me successful that people see that success and want to be part of my business. I control that. So I need to, it's like my mindset changed. And I realized, duh, why would he want to be with us when he can be with someone else more successful? So I need to be that more successful person. So that means we got to really laser beam focus and get back to the basics and go maybe increase my numbers and talk to more people and help other people talk to more, coaching and developing people. So there was it wasn't like, oh, I can't believe it. Nobody wants to be in our business. I didn't think that. That wasn't our attitude. Our attitude was we need to get better. We need to be better so people want to be. Brielle went to a couple of presentations in the beginning, and fear was overwhelming her because she was so afraid they would not be interested. So her mindset, her attitude was more, they might not be interested. All she could think about was, oh, if I talk to them, they might think this of me, or they might not, oh, I've heard of that, or they might not be interested and they'll reject me. So that's the kind of emotion that can destroy a person's potential. I knew her perspective was wrong and wronging her fears. So I sat her down and I asked her to tell me every benefit. So I have to change her thinking, her attitude. If we don't change our attitude, we keep telling them to do stuff, but you don't get to the root problem, you're going to get the same, harvest out of your team. You're going to do the same thing if you don't get to your root. So I sat Brielle down and I asked her to tell me every benefit. She, out of her mouth, told me every benefit we as a family have she's seen us personally receive from Legal Shield, or someone we know that has Legal Shield, and what they have received as a benefit. And then I asked her, so she's telling me all these stories, telling me, she's saying it out of her mouth. I'm not talking at her. I'm not telling her, Brielle, you got to sell this because this, and all these benefits. She is telling me. Then I asked her, do you think that the person that you present to really knows, that says no, really knows what this can do for them? And she said, no, they don't. They think they do know what it is, but they don't. And I said, so what are you going to do about that? Now, they may think they know. Are you willing to take their quote-unquote abuse, their ignorance, and press on through their ignorance to focus on your mission, your purpose to serve people by letting them know how this could help them? And then to give her a good perspective about worst-case scenario, I said, now, if you make a presentation, okay, and you fully share the benefits and they fully know the value, but they say no to the membership, Brielle, can you feel good about what you did for them? And she said yes. And that changed. That was probably second, third month in the business for Brielle. It changed everything. All of a sudden, she said, I'm on a mission. I just want them to know. I just want them to know. If they know, and they, because she kept playing through how many people, $20 a month for a legal plan, duh. This isn't even something we have to worry about when we present. We are giving them such a value proposition. Anyways, when someone does something to me, I ask, let's say you go out there and you got somebody who's rude to you, they don't even give you the time of day, they say something really negative about our business or what you're doing. You know, the question is, how can I grow from this? How can I speak differently so that they don't assume that this is something that's not? What could I have done differently? I'm always asking myself, what I can do so this doesn't happen. Why does that? And the other question, okay, so first of all, when anything happens, you need to ask yourself, what could you do differently? Sometimes it's just the seed. It's the bird, it's the sun, it's the thorns. No problem. You can't change that. It's the way it is. But I always reflect back and say, is there something I can do better so that they don't assume it's this or it's that, or my words producing an ugly response? So you have to ask yourself. And the second thing is, why does it bother you so much? You have to ask yourself that. Why does this bother me when they say, you know, something negative about what I do? Why does it have power over me? Why does it stop me in my tracks? And you've got to deal with that emotion. You have to get real with yourself and get to the root of what's really going on that makes you so overwhelmed by that possible negativity. So going back to the next slide, Trish, what will you apply from today? So I'm going to turn it over to John, and Bob, I believe, is on the phone. I didn't hear him. But for interaction, I actually have an appointment right now, so I won't be available anymore. But to go over the three things, and the question I have is, are you investing the hours? Are you invested in a daily number of presentations so people are seeing the value of the service or the opportunity? And what is your attitude? What is your perspective on everything that ever happens to you? Are you bitter or do you get better? So over to you, John.
All right, Darcy. Hey, fantastic job. Fantastic. Just what a great webinar as always. I've got 4 pages of notes just in respect to what you talked about, things I know, things I understand, and at the same time, I've always had an attitude of gratitude where I can learn in every moment from people I'm around or people I see. And Bob, I'm going to come out to you first, so any comments you have, fantastic. Before I do, anybody that has a comment, a question, maybe an aha moment, just anything, go to your dashboard, put your hand up. I will call on you, and we would love to hear from you. And with that, we'll go out to an amazing leader and one of our executive directors, Mr. Bob Cohen.
Oh, thank you so much, John. And again, I'm, like yourself, blown away. Got just a nice page of notes here. It's crammed in there. And I'm just sitting here just amazed because, I've heard these philosophies from you guys, especially you, John, seed time and harvest, constantly. And I love the way Darcy truly just broke that down here as far as the seed is the seeking, the knocking, the time, the doors will open, you will find someone who sees this. And it just goes back to what Gladwell was saying in the Outliers book. Tremendous book, 10,000 hours, and if you were to break that down into how many years or what kind of time frame that is, that's about 5 years. So I don't say that to freak people out, but just to let people know that success is a journey. It does take time, and if you want to truly separate yourself from the masses, just have that game plan, that mindset that I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. There's nowhere else to go. This is truly the real deal. John, I remember early on you used to say how, if you start getting, discouraged or bewildered, go look at the want ads. Go see what reality is out there. You'll come running back to Legal Shield so fast your head will spin. And I just, it's just every day I just have this attitude of I'm just treasure hunting. It's just so much fun to go out there and meet people. Sure, do I get out of my comfort zone? Absolutely. But I don't care. I know deep down that if I go to bed at night and I didn't say something to that, or maybe somebody's super sharp, I'll be kicking myself the rest of the day, the rest of the night. Why not just ask a question, pay a compliment, just have fun with this thing, and ask them for help. Ask them for help with our project. We're looking to expand. And John, this, so many people are looking, especially here's what I'm starting to see is retirement. A lot of people, that whole pension thing got completely wiped out here in the last handful of years. And Legal Shield really is such an important vehicle for people to supplement that retirement and have that income coming in there in the later years. So those are just a couple thoughts. Again, seed time and harvest. Love the philosophy, and just compliment everybody getting on here live or hearing the playback. That's a great habit you're all into. Back to you, John.
Hey, Bob, appreciate it. And absolutely, I appreciate that last comment, too. For a lot of you folks on the call this morning, we celebrate that. We celebrate your investment, your time investment into, what these calls stand for. The preparation that Darcy puts in the webinars is a direct reflection as to what will happen with your business. And so at the same time, take some of that energy and communicate to your team and those who maybe have a job or are working that can't be on it, to get on the playbacks, get on the follow-ups. Excuse me. And just to give you an example, I have 2 books that I'm reading right now, and I would encourage both of them. A lot of you know who Fran Tarkenton is, Hall of Fame quarterback from the Minnesota Vikings. He's a friend of Darcy and ours. He is a world-class entrepreneur, very good friend to Legal Shield and certainly Harlan. The Small Biz Plan, Go Small Biz, is all something Fran's put together. But his book, The Power of Failure, is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'll share a story in there. But another book I would encourage y'all to get over the Christmas holidays, and I'd offer this up as a Christmas present, Christmas present, that's funny. The Energy Bus, 10 rules to fuel your life, work, and team with positive energy. The Energy Bus. And I know I've already gotten into it. Both are phenomenal. So I'm going to share a couple of other comments before we wrap up. I see Aaron Gonzalez has his hand up, and Aaron, we'll run out to you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Man, this was perfect timing for me personally. So great call. Thank you, as usual, Ms. Darcy Hoffman. But my aha moment came at the beginning when she talked about, go for the goal of the habit that it takes to reach your goal. And my mind always takes what you guys say, and then it translates it to where I can then deliver it, where then I can then use it for me and my daily activities. So I translated it into go for the goal and of the habit, go to develop the habit. The goal is something that you have to develop. So I have to say to myself, I need to develop the habit that it takes to reach the goal that I want to desire. So I took what she said, which really was like a whoa, Aaron, you're setting these goals and you're trying to get these goals, but you haven't developed needed not only just a monthly, a daily, a weekly, but an hourly, and by the minute. What are your habits that you're doing? What are you reading? All this stuff hit me like a ton of bricks just when she was just talking on that one little piece. So, I got like a half a page of this bullet on things that I need to adjust just from that statement. So thank you, Darcy Hoffman, for that. Just developing the habits, not focusing in on the goals and the end of the day type stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, fantastic, Aaron. Appreciate that. I couldn't agree with you more. And, the goal is certainly, a big part of the direction and vision and purpose you're going to move toward. But you're right. You got to come back to, focusing on that, that goal of the daily activity, the daily habit, and everything that comes in between there. What Bob said, I'll give you all a quick example. on page 27, the author of the Energy Bus makes a comment that more people die Monday morning. More people die Monday morning at 9 a.m. than any other time. And boy, did that bring back some memories. And I maybe a lot of you can relate to this, but you know, you might be thinking, oh, John, what are you talking about? Going to work, the J-O-B, you know, how many people, you know, even late Sunday night, you know, as they get ready to go to bed, you know, or they've already died because of what Monday morning offers. And so one of the ways I was able to manage my emotions when things weren't going so well was like what Bob Cohen said, is when things weren't working, when I was, you know, making excuses, and maybe when I was, you know, getting tossed to and fro because of the marketplace, and Scripture says don't ever get tossed to and fro. You know, everything that was in today's webinar, managing, how did Darcy put it? Where'd she put it? Oh, I thought it was good. I'd never heard that before. I'll find it here in a minute. Anyhow, managing your emotions, things like that, disciplining your emotions. But I would go and read the want ad sections on a Sunday, and I would you know, consider going back and getting a job, you know. And as I'd read the want ad sections, I would be sick to my stomach. And then the one or two times that I went out and just interviewed, thinking that that was, you know, my way out, or, you know, my way of, you know, providing or doing what I needed to do, I would sit in front of, you know, the HR director. I would sit in front of, you know, the business owner. And, you know, again, I would almost want to throw up. I would want to be in that parking lot just wanting to puke, because I quickly realized, again, someone else was determining my value. Someone else was determining my worth. Someone else was going to discipline me in that job by demanding of me responsibilities to fulfill, so that I could build their dreams, their company, or their bottom line to improve, you know, the financial statement or whatever, you know. And so guess what? You know, my energy, my enthusiasm, my excitement would be poured right back into, you know, the business that I was working on, which Darcy and I started back in November of 1988. So, you know, whatever it takes, you know, to get her done, just know if we discipline ourselves here, which starts with everything that Darcy spoke about, great things will happen. Let's go out to Joseph. And Joseph, you've got your hand up. I think you're out in the San Diego market, McPetridge. Great to have you. Joseph, go ahead.
Good morning. Absolutely amazing and so clear, so concise. Understanding what I can control, the number of presentations, the number of calls, the follow-up, it's all under my control. Understanding what I need to do daily, which requires the habit. 21 days can start a new habit. Transplant an old habit into the good one. The biggest thing is attitude. I think it's amazing that you go through a no, and you kind of take it on yourself that it's your problem. The questions, the statements, did they get the benefits? And did they say no? Why did they say no? What could I do next to change? What could I have done differently? It all boils down to the attitude, the habit, and then consistently doing what you need to do to grow your business. And I can see where I've really dropped the ball on a lot of this. I've always maintained a fairly decent attitude, but it's the habit. So thank you very much. I think this was absolutely amazing and can't wait for next week to continue growing with the new information.
Well, thanks, Joseph, for your comments. And hey, listen, here's why I like Fran Tarkenton's book so much, The Power of Failure, is when you've dropped the ball or when you haven't always handled every situation the best, just understand that those are very healthy things. Those are good things. You know, when life throws an obstacle in front of you and you get knocked down or, you know, get set back, all of those are great things for every single one of us, because it's that power of failure, provided we get up and don't sulk in the past or cry about it, provided we get up and move forward or look a way around it, is what leads people to the most, to becoming the most successful people out there. So, it's by trial and tribulation. We're refined by fire, and that's what makes it so awesome. So when you look at your experiences, when you look at the activities of life that have, not moved you forward, but maybe stopped you in your tracks, or, caused consternation, or caused headaches, or caused pain, just know you're better off today because of all those things. Nobody ever wants to repeat that pain, so what do? You rethink, you recreate, and you move in a direction where you don't have to hit that obstacle ever again. Just like objections. The marketplace only has 4 or 5 objections. They're all the same. The first time you hear it, it sets you back. Man, I didn't know how to answer. I didn't know what to say when they said they didn't have any money. I didn't know what to say when they said they didn't have any time. I didn't know what to say when they said, is this a pyramid? Some stupid stuff comes from some really stupid and ignorant people. But that doesn't mean we mirror it, and I loved what Darcy talked about. Whether it's Brielle, whether it's Brittany, whether it's Paige, any of our daughters, we never mirrored the attitude. We never mirrored the pain that was there, but we always spoke to what the potential and what was in them. If my daughter had a bad game, I didn't go and reflect on the bad game. I looked at what was positive and what was good, and had her turn her focus and energy toward what was positive, what was good. Now, we always looked at what we could do better, but guess what? We never focused, we never thought back into the past of what was bad. We always looked to what was good and really capitalized or worked on top of that. So anybody else with any comments, and we'll get ready to wrap it up. Anybody else on the speaker line with anything that they'd like to share? You guys are a quiet group out there. We do these for you. Love to hear from you. Anybody else?
Well, good morning, John. This is Eric from Mission Viejo. I think the aha moment for me is that I'm just choked out with too much busyness. And I'm reading a good book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution, and they call that the whirlwind. And I think for me, I've just allowed the busyness of what's urgent to bleed out the time I need to focus on what's really important. And that's kind of an aha moment for me. That right now I'm just getting choked out with too much busyness. I need to discipline myself to just hard code that time I need to focus on this business.
Hey, great comment. I see that with a lot of folks, and Darcy and my sponsor 25 years ago told us to ask ourselves 2 very important questions every day in everything that we were going to be doing. And you all might want to write this down. And this is in respect to the comment you just made. But he said, ask yourself this: how do I spend my time and how do I spend my money? I get numerous calls from people who would like me to do a 3-way call that are maybe in other organizations, or even could be, on my 10th, 11th, 12th, or 15th, line of sponsorship. I try to always do calls for the team, no matter where they are. But when someone calls me from another organization to do a call, I have to ask myself 2 questions. How do I spend my time and how do I spend my money? In other words, would that be a good investment of my time? Now, if there's a chance I can help someone else out, I will. But if it is going to be at the point where I sacrifice a call with a team member or someone in the ShieldNation organization, I have to say no. One thing I do not do, I do not travel into markets where we don't have an organization. There's a gentleman in Florida for a number to come into Orlando. He got upset with me. He was a platinum in the company. And I told him no probably 6 times. And I finally said, look, I don't want to make, this is not personal. I don't have an organization there. This would not be a proper investment of my time, my money, or my energy. I said, I will work to build a team in that area, and when I do, I will come in and rock and roll with everybody. So great comment there. Fantastic. Appreciate it. Derek Coker, I saw your hand up. Did you still have a question or not?
That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, Derek, I'm sorry. I got that. I saw it disappear. Appreciate you. Bob Bakatis, I always mess that name up, but Bob, go ahead. We'll wrap up with you.
Hi, excellent call today. I appreciate you taking my call. Just and I'm lost my note where I was looking at like you did before. but the daily habits and clearing out that clutter, like the previous person said, just as I'm finding so important. We get so caught up with life and doing things, maybe even for our kids, that really they can do themselves, and I end up doing for them. And they need to learn how to do it themselves anyway. And you know, rather than making a call or setting an appointment. And I'll end with that today. It was an excellent call, probably the best call you guys have ever had, in my opinion. But you've had a lot of great ones over the years.
Appreciate that compliment Darcy's done. I mean, every call is phenomenal. I couldn't agree with you more, and today's call was just over the top. So great stuff, guys, and we appreciate all of you. Again, just Merry Christmas, happiest of holidays to everybody that's on this phone. We'll be talking more. We've got more great stuff to come. And again, we know the Performance Club is a key principle, a foundation of how we build this business. Not because of BMWs, not because of trips, but because of what we want our business to do and be. Should we build an organization? We know that the marketing of a membership is going to lead to the recruiting of an international sales organization. So December is a phenomenal month. It's always one of the biggest months for us, usually the biggest month of the year, and we hope it is for you. Put your energy and awareness toward it. Great things will happen. The holidays are a tremendous time to see the people, tell the story, plant the seeds. We've got a record year. 2015 is the strongest year in the last 10 years. So what a great chance to close it strong and enter 2016. I appreciate everybody. Have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye for now.